On to the NBA. Little quick Warriors update just to see where they're at and to
very mid.
Yeah, very mid.
Very mid.
And to discuss obviously the elephant in the room, which is Mr. Man on the bench, Jonathan Kuminga. So the Warriors right now are currently 22-19. So we are third in the Pacific. And the West is honestly a gauntlet, as everybody knows. So we're really one winning streak away from leading our division, which is really kind of sad to say, because we have Phoenix ahead of us, who are playing with passion, and the LA Lakers. Yeah, the LA Lakers, who are limping along.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like we obviously at this point we've seen huge improvements since DeAnthony Melton came back.
Yeah.
That feels like it's been like night and day in terms of rotation, scoring, and a guy that's out there that Steph feels good about next to at the end of games. And he doesn't turn it over. And I'm so tired of the rest of these guys who just throw the ball away like it's not a prize.
Hot potato.
Yeah. But like Mitch is saying, lots of ups and downs. Doesn't feel like we really have a team that has an identity yet. Doesn't feel like we beat teams where you're like, great, that was a great win. However, the only good thing I will say that we have going for us right now is we are beating the teams we're supposed to, which I do feel like was never a thing. I feel like in the past several seasons, we have just been terrible against teams that are terrible.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, bro, if we're not going to take those, where are we going to get the, it's like, so you really want to put it all on the line to take on one of these top teams. And normally we would show up to actually do so, but it's like, do we have to make it that hard on ourselves when we're this old, this fatigued, right? So Jonathan Kuminga has been benched for the last, it feels like a month now.
Yeah, 13, 14 games in a row.
And this has just been him healthy scratches. We don't want him to get injured. The relationship between Steve Kerr and him is fractured beyond repair, according to Shams, as he literally quoted it.
For the last fucking 2 to 6 months, he's been saying the same thing. Like
100%.
Wow. It was today, right?
Yeah. It's today. So I think sooner than later he'll be gone. I think the real thing that everybody is realizing is going to have to be a 3-team trade, because honestly, there's no team interested enough to fully pull the trigger, and there'd have to be teams willing to throw different things in to get different things out. It's a sad story, and I think the biggest thing that came out that's crazy that came public is that Steve Kerr apparently, which this is starting to make sense too, apparently was 100% behind Franz Wagner. And that was his pick. And he made the decision and he got overridden. And it also explains why he's just been like, I've never been interested in this cat. This is not my guy. And that, now that it's public, I mean, you can always make your thoughts and think, is that happening? Could be there. But to now see that it's public, where it was like, this was Steve Kerr, this is the name he put in the box, and the name he got out was obviously not that. And their two careers are completely different. Franz Wagner is sitting over there, playing pretty well as the Robin to Paolo Banchero, and surely is a guy, at least with his height and his shooting ability, that we could have found a way to make work with our offense. And I guess, at least for me, before I hand this off to you, I feel like these last several years, pretty much since KD, has really shown me truly how intricate and complex our offense is. Where it's like, we cannot make certain players work. And there's not a lot of teams that I feel like have offenses that are like that, which on one sense is amazing, and on the other, it is very frustrating.
Oh, man, what to say about the Warriors these days? It's tough. I mean, we're stuck in between of, are we still going to cater to Steph Curry and keep playing that way? Or are we going to change up and adjust to any of these new guys that we have? Jimmy Butler is an all-star, perennial all-star. So I guess we have to adjust with him. But he's even taking a backseat to trying to figure out how to play an offense to cater to Steph Curry. And then just with the rest of our guys, I don't understand how you can't play Jonathan Kuminga. I hear all the all the arguments. Oh, it's not the system. Steve Kerr, bro. Like, are you guys not responsible as a staff of trying to get one of your top picks, whether you like them or not, to be productive for your team? Like, we don't have Brandon Pajemski, Gary Payton II, Guy Santos, Al Horford, Buddy Hield, like, and I love Pat Spencer, but it's like, why would you need to play these guys and think they can only, like, Jonathan Kuminga cannot be any better than any of these guys? I just find that hard to believe for me, because if it's like, oh yeah, it's just a system, like, damn, bro, like, are we just gonna let him go and then he becomes a 24-point scorer, 6 rebounds, and then it's like, you couldn't figure that out? Like, you couldn't just give him the ball a little bit more? Like, I'm hoping that's not the situation, because if it's not that, then Jonathan Kuminga is just done for his career, right? Because what are you good at then? Like, if you don't go to another team and ball out, then you're a Jordan Poole, right? That's what you're going to end up being, is somebody who's like, you actually just were never a good basketball player. But I'm hoping that he for his sake, I hope he goes somewhere else and balls, because I feel like it was more Steve Kerr and the team not willing to figure out stuff for a top lottery pick, rather than our lottery pick like just not being able to figure it out. Because how are you able to figure out how to play when you're playing 10 minutes a game? I played basketball in high school, barely played. When I got thrown in there, it was moving hella fast. That's high school. Like, imagine being a guy who came from the G League at like 19 years old trying to play in the NBA. You get 10 minutes every like few games. How are you ever going to get better? So I hope that we trade him sooner rather than later. I don't want this to keep going anymore. Like, give us like Zach LaVine or something. Like, just anybody else at this point that we're actually willing to play. Because having somebody who's that high of a pick, that high of a commodity, before we start benching him, we need to get something back in return that is actually going to play for us.
No, I agree. I mean, I think the way we developed him was very, very poor. But I think it's a combination of the both.
Yeah,
I think truly, when you look at Jonathan Kuminga and you look at his team, they have just played this terribly. And when they're in the position they're in, they're still online for big money. The problem with that camp is they're convinced he's a superstar and nobody else is.
Yeah.
And when you're not willing to work into your role, you are coming at it from a privileged point of view. And Jonathan Kuminga has way, in my opinion, overstayed his welcome. Like, you, my boy, had many opportunities to come in, and it's an attitude thing where, like, I've seen you get reintegrated into the lineup 100 times, bruh,
Right.
and you've never done anything in the small categories that we've asked to be different that could make a difference for the team. Now, those are the kind of things for any player who's not Jordan, LeBron, these guys, and even Jordan had to work for some time, but like these guys who are absolute bona fide, can't miss prospects and stars. If you're not that, those are the ways you build yourself up into bigger roles, into being potentially a star. And that is where, for me, I feel like his only shot is to go to a team like the Nets, right? Where they don't have anybody. They're not going to have a choice but to say, you're a star, Jonathan. And if you go ball out, good. Hopefully it also leads to winning, and then you'll be able to catch up on your timeline, and then hopefully you are everything that you say you are. But you already have a championship. You have played on a team where you know what team you've come to is, compared to all those other teams that drafted with us in those years. They were all crap. And none of those teams have even sniffed the championship. And if that's the main hype of what we're complaining about, to me, I just don't understand at 23 how you also haven't, on the flip side, found a way to be more productive. We know how you're athletic. We know how you have all of these worldly abilities to play the game. But why aren't you able to focus your energy on being one of our better perimeter defenders with all of those traits? Why do I not see you until we utterly force you to become a rebounding monster? All these other guys that we are talking about who have ascended into those roles are doing those things. And you can't just say, oh, okay, well, they were getting X amount of minutes and I wasn't. Because by the numbers, they do that per 36, my boy.
Mhm.
So your per 36 numbers are nowhere near theirs. Nowhere near Franz Wagner, nor the other guys that we were looking at in those drafts. So when you talk about that, you got to understand there's a reality that comes with listening to those people in your ear that are telling you something that you're not. And that is where I'm like just hoping the best for you. I want the best for you. But I'm also now just totally cool with you dipping. And I really, as long as we get, like Mitch is saying, somebody that can play, I don't really care. Because honestly, from what I've seen from you, it's been fun to watch when you're dunking.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun to watch when you're in the open court. But we are a team that has a set offense, like we've talked about, blah, 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 blah. And if there's nothing beyond that, then it is crazy that we drafted you at 7.
Crazy.
It's nuts. It is nuts. And to me, the only thing that I put on the Warriors is I do think early on, right? We're talking about we got him at 18 or 17. He's now 23, right? Early on, we needed to give him more of a taste of being a productive basketball player.
Made 0 sense to pick him up. Like we were saying, the other guys were in the draft. I mean, I know Josh Giddey got picked right before him, but then like the Alperen Senguns get picked after him. There's just guys who are there that's like, if you look at that guy, you can play him right now as a rookie, and he will be productive. Nobody looked at Jonathan Kuminga in the draft and was like, yeah, you could put him in right now. It's like, but that's exactly what we needed when we drafted him. And so that's what, for me, where it was just like, yeah, you didn't play him at all, and you like didn't give him a role from the very get-go, and you never developed him, even though you drafted him. First over, like our first, was it 7th pick or whatever? Mm-hmm. We drafted him there and didn't give him a chance to blossom at all.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the main issue with that was we had a championship roster, and so we didn't need him. And that to me was where the flaw was the largest, is that if we really did look at it in that way, we would have, I think, drafted how we do now, which is we draft guys that are 100% for us. Like, you don't even see another team considering the guy. It's just like, that's who we wanted. And I feel like that year they learned a terrible lesson back-to-back in being swayed by, overall league analytics and people being wooed by one thing or another. And the fact that I think Joe Lacob was in love with him and sat there and thought, you know what better than to get a super young gem when we're kind of already set. We got a Wiggins, we got Poole, we got Steph, we got Dre, we got Clay, right? We have all these guys. And so, like, why not just let him learn and be the youngest he can be to then have it all come to fruition by the time he's 22 or whatever the case is. And they just weren't able to do that.
I also would feel that a lot more if I felt like he seemed like that kind of guy going into the draft. Like this, again, compared to the other guys who were drafted around him, I don't think he's probably has the lowest IQ coming into the league. Like the least amount of time of played basketball. Like this man was a total project. So
he was on
think that
Jalen Green's team, so he wasn't even
right.
number
like
one.
So and then you see Jalen Green. Jalen Green's at like both of them were two guys who were the G League. It didn't like the hype didn't work out for you in my opinion. Like Jalen Green can at least score a bunch, but he's actually getting an opportunity 35 plus a game. But so I think Jonathan could just fill it up. But like we're talking about in terms of like, oh, you can go to the Nets and just fill it up, I guess. But are you ever gonna like learn how to win, or are you just gonna, oh yeah, I'll be another
star.
I'll be Cam Thomas, and I can put a 35 in a game, like But you guys are 11 and 38 now, in terms of
and you don't pass,
and you don't pass, So it's just it's been very disappointing ever since that draft.
Pain.
Also, just I can't reiterate it enough, but Bob Myers, bro, like totally just dipped out on the Warriors, in my opinion, and left us in shambles and knew he was doing that. And that's why he did leave, in my opinion. Because since then, Mike Dunleavy and the boys, we've made some cool picks, but the way the team's looking, and especially how this Kuminga situation is now panning out, it's like, bro, you guys need to figure it out. Because clearly now this new regime there's been a lot of fumbling.
Absolutely. Lastly, before we move forward to a quick Cal update and then the MLB, we do have Trae Young getting traded to the Wizards. Like Mitch said earlier, for a bag of chips in a Calistoga water.
Bro, CJ McCollum and Corey Crisper.
Disgusting. And what, like a second round pick or something? It was like
If that,
something
bro.
gross, like some
If
cash.
that, like, yeah.
Trae Young can't guard a standstill cone,
Mm-mm.
but he sure still plays a premier position. He sure can still lead the league in assists, and he can still put up 20 plus. But I do think the Hawks are better. It's just weird. It's a weird situation. It's weird to say that. I think the Hawks are better off. I think it was a move they needed to make, and I think they realized that when Trae got injured, and they were playing way better and were winning. It's like
Dyson Daniels and Nikhil Walker-Alexander
locking everything up.
Yeah.
Their defense is one of the better defenses in the league. They got what's his name too? Onyeka. What's the big black dude? Okongwu. Thank you. And then they got Kristaps coming back. Jalen Johnson is literally 7 foot. Yeah. It's like they've got
resurface.
Yeah, he can defend. He hasn't figured out offense at all, but he can defend too. And then we'll definitely keep you guys fully tracked out on other potential blockbusters. There's obviously names like Michael Porter Jr. getting floated out there, John Morant, Domantas Sabonis, and then our boy Kuminga.
AD before he got injured.
AD as well.
Though he is injured, somebody still might trade for him.
Absolutely.
Look out for that Trae Young versus Julian Newman YouTube channel.
Right, for real.
Seems like those two are going to be playing each other. They can't guard
nothing. And that would be like 150 to 100. Just whoever got ball. So the Cal update is obviously we just played Duke and ended up losing in basketball. But the reason that we're really highlighting this is because these are the true blue bloods of the sport. Mm-hmm. And this is their first time coming to Berkeley as part of Cal joining the ACC. So we played Duke pretty well. Do you have the final score by chance?
Yeah, the final score was 71-56.
Gross.
That second half was real tough for the boys.
What was halftime score, though?
At halftime, the score was, let's pull it up. It was 37-30.
See, yeah. So
37-30.
So it was reasonable.
And that second half got away from us a little bit.
Cooked. But we do this Saturday as well, which I think will start being tradition, like when you're away or home, that you're going to get Duke and UNC back-to-back. They travel together. UNC is going to be coming to Cal on Saturday, Haas Pavilion. I'm actually thinking about going. Tickets are probably going to be through the Roofski. Who knows? But I know your brother went to the last one.
Yeah, saw Steph Curry over there. That was pretty cool. Took a picture with him.
Light flex.
Hopefully we can do as good as Stanford did against North Carolina and get a big win. That'd be very, very nice. Man. We just want to always make sure we're up on the Berkeley news, the Cal news, and anytime we got big events swinging through, we'll make sure we have a little slot on this show to highlight it. So if you're in town, if you got a little extra dollars, Caleb Wilson is definitely going to be a top 5 pick next year. He's on UNC. So always cool to see some true NBA talent. Yeah. Cam Boozer was there last last night. And so those are true like top 5 picks. And I don't think the Pac-10, to Pac-12 had like a ton of that all the time of like guaranteed. And ACC does have a lot of that. And usually it's not like attached to like some like Washington can have good players, but it's like not many of the teams in the Pac-12 are just like, oh my goodness, that compared to like the blue bloods of North Carolina and Duke. So it's cool to not only did you have Cam, but you have other players out there who are 5 stars as well.
Absolutely. So before we wrap today's show up, we do want to update you guys on the MLB. There has, even though the season